So this is really interesting. In many of the papers, we're being told about the emergency alert that's happening on the 23rd of April this year that might be used to tell us about things that are impacting on us at the level of our safety. It's interesting that in the papers, they tell you that your phone's functionality won't work unless you accept the alert and do as it asks you to do. What's even more interesting is when you go and look at the link actually on the government website, it clearly shows you that you can switch your alerts off and it's an optional thing, but they hope people will take it on. So what's the purpose of the media instilling fear? This is a very clever partnership between the government and the media. Because let me ask you this question. The government know that it's optional, it clearly states that on the government website, yet they are allowing the media to continue to spread a message of fear because most people will want their phones and most people, I assume, would simply accept the alert. So the government know that that's not true, so they could easily put it right. So what's the purpose of this? Let me take you back to 2020, and some of you might find this a challenge to take on board, as many did back then. As of March the 19th, 2020, COVID-19 was off the high consequence infectious disease list due to low mortality. But the message going out into the media was something quite different. But yet, on the government website, it was telling the truth. Now, of course, some of the truth is now coming out around those times about the forced do not attempt resuscitation orders that were put on people that meant they never even got the care that they were supposed to get, adding to the fear. The truth is now coming out about the cocktail of midazolam and steroids as part of the barbaric end-of-life pathway. That, by the way, the government talks about the dangers of those and the combinations of those on the government website. Yet we all listen to the media. How many of us actually go back and do the research and go and find articles? Because the government have to tell you the truth. And the truth is there on their website. Now, it's really interesting because in the article, it also says that it doesn't need your mobile number. So what technology are they using? So a little bit of research and a Freedom of Information request that I sent to the council back in 2021 shows us that all the street lighting was changed. I don't know if you noticed it because it was done during lockdown at a time when most people wouldn't notice it. And they were using LED lights. Now that LED light is a technology that can communicate with each other using a frequency. Doesn't need the mobile phone network. And you can Google that. Wikipedia tells you about it. There's a research that was done by Disney back in 2015 that talks about how the lights can communicate with each other. And we're sold the lights to say that actually they're energy efficient and to have them in our home. We're even offered incentives to put them into our homes, but yet they can communicate with every single mobile device. So what is this really about? So in 2019, Boris Johnson did an address to the UN. And in his address, other than it becoming a dystopian reality, which he spoke of, and oppressive clouds pollulating over us, which is an interesting choice of language in itself for a prime minister, he also talks around AI, digital authoritarianism, and how we're going to be tracked and traced from lamppost to lamppost. So is it a coincidence that during lockdown all the lamppost heads were changed? Sold to us on energy costs, savings? So what is it really about? Are they connected to the 15-minute cities where their people are being fined to even go up their road? £70 if they do it for more than 100 times a year. And if you listen to the people in the cities, congestion is getting worse because people are forced out of areas and putting traffic onto main thorough routes. Some people can't get to school because they've got disabled children. The local businesses are being destroyed. I'm sure none of us would disagree with having everything within our reach with 15 minutes. None of us would disagree with that. That would be great. It's a great idea, right? But is that actually what's happening when we look in our streets? Do we have everything within 15 minutes? And how much of it was a choice as opposed to it being a stealth consultation that's on the government website, which many people will not go and find. And there's no democracy in it because it's being forced upon us. So how is this LED technology that's going to be issuing these alerts that requires no mobile number going to be used for smart cities and 15-minute cities and the mayor cities? What's the real purpose of it? I just say to you to take some time to really contemplate. Ask yourself questions. Questions are really important. They challenge our minds. They make us think. Ask your own questions. Ask yourself, does it feel right? Are we getting more restricted or less constricted? Which way is it going? Are we being charged more taxes or are we being charged less taxes? Are cities becoming more accessible or less accessible? How much money do we have to pay if we hit a bus lane or go into a ULEZ zone and now a clean air zone? And how are they going to communicate with us to find out where we are? Many people took on the track and trace system in 2020. And it was a pace and lead. It was like seeing how compliant people would be before they then imposed the COVID-19 health passport, which, by the way, is gone now. So what was it really about? Was it about our health or was it about control? I ask you to simply ask yourselves the questions deep on the inside, because I guarantee to you, if you do not, your children's future and freedoms are going to be gone.